Are we live? Welcome, everyone. I see a black screen. Up, there we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another Living the Mystical Life Daily Webcast. Everyone, come on and sit down in the chat room. We are going to be joined by Ben and Jen of the Rhodey Institute in just a moment here. We are going to be taking calls. I flubbed that one so much. We were just talking about it. All right, everyone. This is the Living the Mystical Life Daily Webcast. Ben and Jen of the Rhodey Institute are going to be at our Living the Mystical Life Daily live event October 5th through the 8th. We're going to be talking about 5D Business School and a whole bunch of other wonderful stuff. We are going to be taking calls on today's material. So if you are in the call room waiting to have a reading, that is not today. This is a webcast for the live event. We're also going to be giving 2 tickets away to come to the live event. To be eligible to win the tickets, you must be a member and you must be able to attend the live event. Those are absolute requirements. So you can contact Debbie inside the chat room or Jen inside the chat room that's part of the GH team. They will enter you. You must be able to attend the event. This is for those people who have been practicing and want to take this boot camp style, learn the material, hear all the guests that we're going to be having there. All right, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ben and Jen, thank you for coming on the show. How are you doing today?
We're doing good, and we're glad that we finally get to do something live thanks to internet.
Yeah, yes. We're doing amazing. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, this is fun. We're excited.
Yeah.
I was on your podcast 2 times last year or earlier this year too, and that was 3 times now. 3 times now. That's been one hell of a fun podcast, and now I have you guys live on my show. Let's talk about the Living the Mystical Life Daily event. You guys are going to be there, and you're going to be talking about your 5D Business School.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff. So do you want me to give a brief explanation of what we even mean by 5D Business School? So I'm sure a lot of your people, most of your people, probably hear about all the 5D transitions we're all going through. And about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, Jen and I started going through these crazy transitions. Our world started falling apart. And we said, why us? And Jen's a clairvoyant. She meditates 3 to 9 hours a day. And the information that came through said, well, you have to go first so that you can help other people when it's their turn. And so we came out the other side, and we did. Jen spent 9 months downloading Business School, and I'm hearing myself in the background. But yeah, so we downloaded the next level of entrepreneurship. So the conscious business model, that everyone's been seeing, that everyone's sick of, the 5 steps to $1 million in your bank account, like buy now, right? All the stuff that everyone's sick of. Jen and I thought, how do we, what's the next level? What's next? Because people are sick of this, just like people are sick of commercials on TV, and infomercials. That stuff used to work, now it doesn't. And so the whole 5D business model, the future of business, is energetic. It's getting in alignment with yourself so that you don't have to do anything. You set up the structure of your life in a way where relationships working. We got 3 kids, and so our life's working, and then that naturally creates the vibration that inspires people to want to have a life that works for them.
Yeah.
So this 5D Business School, as it has evolved, you decided to take it to the public. What are some of the concepts that you like to teach?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the biggest things that are so important are understanding what your own values are. That was a really big thing for Ben and I. We had gotten so busy, building our business the first few years of business, and we were just busy. We were constantly, traveling and speaking and doing radio shows and, TV and all these things. And we were kind of getting burnt out. It was really fun, but we were getting burnt out. And we reached a point where we kind of had to stop and realize that we had never really taken the time to self-define what was actually really important to us. And so that was such a major shift for us when we really took the time to say, okay, number one, for us, our relationship comes first before anything else, right? And number two, we realized we really wanted a lot more quality time with each other and with our children. And so now we basically live all day, every day on vacation. I mean, all day, every day feels like vacation. We have very little things on the calendar. And that's a lot. A lot of the people that come to us are, you know, they want to do more of the things that they love and only the things that they love, but they have this fear, or they've been fed this idea that, you know, they have to build their list. And if they don't build their list, they won't have a successful business. And they don't want to build their list, but they have to, you know, or they don't want to do a webinar, but they've been told they have to do a webinar.
And then it ends up not working out for them anyway.
Right. So Ben and I are really big on, like, we only do what we love. And that's a lot of what we're teaching. Just put your energy toward what you love.
Yeah. So I'll say really quick, it's like, if we were to boil it down, so it's 5D Business School, but I think on the third module or fourth module, we say, okay, this is where the money falls out of the sky, and we start really getting into the magic of it. Mm-hmm. And we say, you thought this was a business school. This is actually it's our mystery school, right? Yeah. It's actually it's becoming lucid in the dream and being able to read all the signs around you as a shaman would read the signs, and the signs of life purpose. So the focus is on life purpose. What is your life purpose? And finding success on life purpose. So if it's not working, you become lucid in the dream and you use your life purpose as a feedback mechanism for your consciousness, for your enlightenment. So it's not just about making money, it's about fulfilling your life purpose and enjoying the quality of life. And if one of those things is out of place, we call it the energy puzzle. The energy puzzle, learning how to read the energy puzzle around in your life and being able to tweak every little thing. So every day when you wake up, you're already on fire because you look around you and you live in paradise. You wake up and you're living your dream life, and you look over and Jesus Christ, I'm the luckiest man in the world before I even get up, right? Mm-hmm. And then, you know, you get on phone calls, then you get on sales calls, then you get on coaching calls, and everything just falls into place because the energy's there.
And that's really when things drop out of the sky too. You know, we talk about 5D in the sense of that everybody's in and out. We're all multidimensional beings, and we're all in and out of this. 5D really is the flow state. So when someone's in a 5D state of consciousness, they're like, you know, opportunities are just falling in the air, out of the air. Everything is flowing. Life feels easy. Life feels fun. Life feels joyous. And most people are in and out of that, and they don't know how that you really can consciously create your life being like that more and more and more, right? So that's a lot of what it's about. If it's not fun, if you don't love it, don't do it, you know?
It's so vital to know loving what you do.
Yeah.
So many people don't know how to love what they do because so much of their life is a slave life. Slave to this job, slave to the children, slave to this, slave to that. And it's the mentality that blocks the creativity and the joy.
Yes, and people leave their jobs because they don't want to be slaves anymore. And then so many people build even these 7-figure businesses and become a slave to their own business. I love that you just pointed that out.
Yeah. I get that all the time in my private sessions. They have these gigantic businesses and they are slaves to that at every level. They cannot have 10 minutes free without 1 or 2 of their phones or devices beeping.
Yeah.
You know? And it's, you know, it's miserable for them when you do that. I mean, you know, I own my business, you guys own your own business, and we do what we love. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't do what we love. Do we have frustrating times? Yes, we do. But we also don't let it own us.
Yeah.
And that's the key. You've got to own the happiness. And it is a flipping of the frequency when you find yourself in a state, it may be a slave job, but I can turn my internal happiness on and not give it away to the slave job.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I want to explain real quick the difference. When we say 5D Business School and 5D Business, I want to give a little map of what 3D, 4D, and 5D is. So 3D obviously is the third dimensional job, work in a cubicle, work in an office, work for a paycheck, basically. Any job you're doing for a paycheck, whether it's construction or anything that you don't really, that isn't life purpose, it's third dimensional, right? Fourth dimensional is when you start working for yourself in a business that helps others, right? You're a teacher, you're a leader, so everything you see that I was talking about, like the 5 steps to doubling your email list, right? That's all fourth dimensional. It's the fourth dimensional business structure that we call it the birth canal. The purpose of the fourth dimension is to help you get from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, which the fifth dimension is the dream. It's you become lucid in the dream. So in the third dimension, you quit your job because you want to live the dream in the fifth dimension. But in order to get there, you have to go through spiritual boot camp and learn. So part of 4D is you have to learn, who am I? What do I do? Why am I here? Who do I help? What do I do for them? And you have to become congruent with that in a way where I say, this is what I'm going to do for you, and this is how I'm going to help you do that. And they say, oh, I see you. I believe you. You're in integrity with that. And here's money, right? Now you know who you are, right? So after you are consistently in that identity in the fourth dimension of I know who I am, this is what I do. Now you've built the scaffolding. The fourth dimension is a scaffolding around a beautiful building. And now you can take down the scaffolding. Now you stop doing the stuff you don't want to do anymore, right? It's not like you just snap your fingers and become successful. You have to do stuff you don't want to do. But once you're successful, then you pass off everything. So like we have a team running the scenes behind, running the show behind the scenes in our business. So do you, Andrew. At our home, we have full-time nanny. We have support from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We have people cooking for us and cleaning for us and watching our kids. And so all Jen and I have to do is focus on each other, focus on life purpose, meditate, write, get in information, create products, create programs. I mean, we have so much information coming through us that we can't shut it off. And so in order to have time for that, we need to be only on life purpose. And that's, it really works. So like you said, Andrew, there's still frustrating moments, but in the old way that we used to do it, it's like you work for a year to get a week or 2 off of vacation.
Right.
Here it's like we we get vacation for a year and then we have to take a week off to go speak at your event.
You're so excited about.
So we got to go to work for a week.
So one of the cool things you said, there are times that you have to do things you don't want to do, but ultimately you still have to be happy when you're doing what you don't want to do. Absolutely. You have to identify what is necessary to serve the life purpose, life path, goals. And if you can't internalize the want and the follow through, there is some disconnect and malfunction in your emotional processing. And that's where so many people get tied up.
Yeah, and that's the energy puzzle. Yeah. That's exactly the energy puzzle. And so most people don't really understand, they don't have a map or a construct for what do I actually need to do to get what I want. And basically it's everything we do is about integration. How do I be a fully integrated person? So there is some stuff that we're going to have to do,
right, even if we don't feel like
even if our identity is like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to leave my gorgeous home where we have everything set up and go on a 10-hour flight. I don't want to do it, but I do want to do it at the same time because I want to go see Andrew and I want to go see you guys and we want to go speak on stage and we want to go, offer our gifts and we want to go be with people. We live up in the mountains in the jungle in Costa Rica. Like there's, we get to hang out with the monkeys and the parrots and the people are scarce. So yeah, I mean, it's all about developing an intuition where we listen to our intuition and there's no thought about it and there's no inner conflict. It's like, Jen and I, people ask, how'd you guys do that so fast? We say, we just do it. We just do what we're told. Right. We get information. We have no idea how we're going to do what we're told, but we go do it one step at a time.
Right.
We just access the next level of top security clearance. When we get there, we don't ask questions. We just say, okay, let's do it. And of course, there are failures and there are, we try to do something and it doesn't work out, but we learn. It's never a failure because we've learned from every single thing and we fine-tuned our intuition so tight at this point that we know exactly what we're supposed to be doing. And it happens by staying lucid in the dream. It happens by meditating. It happens by consulting with your closest mirror and holding each other to your higher self.
Right. You're no longer in expectation. You're in intuitive precognition, natural livingness. And when you're living in intuitive precognition, you can easily follow paths of the consciousness. I call this getting out of your own way, allowing the divine spirit to be co-creative and evolving with you organically.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. And at this point, we've really learned to, and this has been so valuable to us, is that when something doesn't work the way that, we think it's supposed to, that there's so much value in it, and it's always serving us. I mean, it's actually gotten to the point where we will get excited. I mean, after the human part of us has like oh man, we really do get excited about it, because it's like, oh, this must be an initiation. Oh, right. We're going to the next level, like when we integrate this, we're going to be that much more expansive in our wisdom. Cool. So, that's the other piece of it. If this didn't work out,
I wonder what's even better that's coming for us.
What is coming that's better? And that's always the case. Yeah. That's always the case, So I love that.
The beauty of expansion is it's the unlimited point of view. And the whole journey to the unlimited point of view is looking at your limitations and no longer arguing for them.
Yeah.
So many people waste 80% of their creativity before it even starts by arguing for their limitations.
Yes. Oh, that's gold. That's gold.
I still don't know why people do that.
It's built into them. Right? They hear their mother and father, their cousins and neighbors who are afraid of saying, I'm going to be a singer. I'm afraid to put a microphone in my hand. Or they're afraid when the red light on the recorder is on. Afraid. It's what it all is. Fear of the unknown. We are consciousness explorers. We are here to make the unknown known.
Yeah, I think one of the most powerful mindsets a person can have is to go towards your fear. Go towards what scares you, because every fear is just a boundary condition. Everything you want is on the other side of that fear. So when I was little, when I was, all the way through high school, I was horrified of public speaking. Even out through college, I was horrified of speaking in front of people because I had self-confidence issues. I was horrified of women. I was horrified of sex. I was horrified of being, receiving value or being valuable. And I was afraid of fighting. I was afraid of physical injury. And so I one by one faced my fears. I learned how to fight. I learned psychology. I learned about women. I started dating everyone I could find, even though it was the scariest thing ever. I needed to get through it.
Got a little carried away with that one.
Got a little carried away. I started going to professional speaking classes or just public speaking classes at the local community college. And I would just take classes and learn how to do it. And then, I'd look for any opportunity that someone would give me to speak in front of their group. I mean, I was a mailman before I met her 5 years ago. But I was creating all this stuff and I had no idea what I was doing. But, this is what we see for our clients too, is our clients who are willing to say, whoa, I know it's what I need to do, but it scares the shit out of me. So that's how I know I need to do it. Those are the people that go up, up, up. The people that say, give me a year or two to think about it. I'm not quite ready yet.
Let me read one more book.
Yeah.
Let me just read one more book or take one more
more course, one more class.
More course. And we always tell everyone, like, be a student, be always learning. Ben and I are always learning. We're always reading. And don't let that hold you back. Like, the biggest learning that you're going to experience is going to be by doing those things that are really uncomfortable.
Taking the action.
Right?
Life school.
Yeah, life school. I mean, you can't beat that. Like, you could read about, for me, 5 years ago, I was terrified, mortified every single time we would speak on stage or had a radio show or an interview like this. I would just have a complete and total meltdown, right? And, had I'd kick and scream and Ben would pull me out. And
we throw burritos at each other.
I mean, it was a mess. It was just ridiculous.
Burrito warfare. That's fun.
We had burrito warfare.
I tipped the guy at the Mexican restaurant to clean it up. I was like, I'm so sorry.
I made you tip him. So you kept me to clean up that mess.
I thought she was going to drive off without me.
I thought about it.
So now we teach people how to see their fear as as excitement. Like, get excited instead of afraid.
You're about to have a growth experience. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, what if I would have said to you 5 years ago, I think I'm just going to read 5 more books on how to speak on stage, and then I'll be ready. It's like, no, you have to get on stage.
She did. So when we met.
You have to get on stage. That's how you're going to get
When we met, she said, look, you and I, before we start dating, we need to spend 6 months clearing karma, talking about stuff. And I said, no. No.
Not a good idea.
And we got married a month after we met.
We did.
So a lot of people that are on the verge of coming to this event are waiting for one more webcast and one more webcast. This is the 19th webcast.
Stop it.
So what's stopping you? One more book? There is a button below that says, yes, I want to enroll. You will then be able to get 2 free tickets to come to the live event. If you're just interested in coming to the live event, email hr@galactichistorian.com, and then you will have more information on being able to come to the event. Now, for each and every person that wants to know what is going to be going on, Ben and Jen are going to be speaking at this event, going in depth into their 5D business school, and then we're also going to be on stage together answering unique questions. And we have an opportunity. We're going to be taking callers here in just a second. But, Jen, I want to ask you a question about the intuitive nature. What Ben was saying earlier, between 3 and 9 hours a day, you're in meditation. That's dedication. That's discipline. What I talk to a lot of my audience is dedication and discipline and making a definition of sacred energy to do this. What is it that helps you get each day to be able to attain that discipline of the mind and spirit in unity?
So I love this question. I've actually gonna have kind of a funny answer for you. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of discipline. When I'm teaching about this to our clients, I say, just try meditation 15 minutes a day, 30 days in a row.
Put it in your calendar.
Put it in your calendar and make it a priority. So I'm absolutely 1,000% with you on that, 1,000%. And just that will make a world of difference for people. For me, at the point that I'm at, if I don't meditate at least a few hours a day, I think I have this, I know I have actually a what I would call dharmic agreement around it. So they kind of make me do it. So if I don't meditate, I will get ringing in my ears. And if I don't listen to that, I will get a massive headache.
And then she gets massively cranky.
And then I get massively cranky. So it's kind of silly, but for me at this point, it's almost I need to eat. I need to make love to my husband. It's like I need to take a shower and I need to meditate. For me at this point, it's that I need to do yoga. Yeah, it's that much of a self-care thing that I know if I don't do it, it's like I don't feel good. I don't feel right. So there is a level of discipline, but beyond that, it's kind of like I have to. I mean, was it yesterday you were laughing at me because I was like, no, I thought I had 2 hours to meditate, and I didn't at the time.
Oh yeah, she was like, wait, we had a phone call. There was an hour before when she thought it was. She's like, I thought I had an hour and a half to meditate. And I was like, you got 20 minutes, babe. And she's like, oh, shit. I was like, most people are like, oh, shit, I have to meditate for 20 minutes. She's like, oh, my life's ruined, 20 minutes.
Well, meditation for me at this point is such an ecstatic state.
It's staying lucid in the dream.
It's a really ecstatic state.
Beautiful. You're lucid dreaming. That's the absolute key.
When we first met and started this business, and we were so broke, and we had $600 in our bank account, not enough money to pay our $750 a month rent the next month, and Jen's in there meditating. I'm like, you got to get out of bed. What are you doing in there? I'm out here trying to make money, and you're in here sleeping all day. And she's like, I'm meditating. And I was like, meditating's bullshit. Get out here in the real world and help me do stuff, right? And now I'm at the point where, because I've seen her magic, I mean, every major move we've made has come through her in meditation, and she comes out and says, here's what we're doing. And I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? And then it always works out perfect, right? And so now I'm at the point where if we have any question what's going on, or if there's like a big deal we're about to close or something, I'm like, babe, go meditate. Yeah. Spend all day meditating. If she doesn't meditate for a day, I'm like, get back in there, babe. I mean, it's like a job where if you go into work and you got to check in with your boss every day, and you're like, all right, what are we doing today, boss?
Yeah, I got to check in with my team, right? It's like I got to check in with my team, my guides, and my team, right?
You got to go into the spiritual cubicle and put your lunch in the spiritual refrigerator and say, I'm on the spiritual clock right now, even though you're in no time.
I mean, exactly. Like, that's how you don't miss anything. You know, it's how you don't miss anything. Or if you go a week without meditating, she comes back and her guides are like, I've been trying to tell you for a week.
Well, I wouldn't even, they would take me out. Like, they would actually just take me out at this point and be like, I have to go lay down. I have to go lay down. Yeah.
See, so many people want and desire what you were just talking about, but they can't get over 15 minutes of meditation a day, let alone hours.
Yeah.
And I want to challenge people out there. You can carve 2, 3, and 4 hours out of your day. Will you? Will you? No. You wouldn't have gone 19 webcasts if you didn't. Okay? Okay? There are a lot of new people in there, and they're like, well, that's a little precocious for you to say that. It isn't. I'm a teacher. I understand what students do, how they argue for their limitations.
Yeah.
Okay?
And so many people, I love this, Andrew, because so many people spend so much time spinning their wheels, you know,
feeling bad about themselves for not doing it.
Right. They're taking all of these action steps. Most of them aren't really paying off. You know, so people often ask us, well, how do you have so much time? I have so much time. Ben and I have so much time because I spend the time in meditation getting clear on what direction to take. Then when I go, you know, when I'm downloading 5D Business School, or when I'm downloading a post or an article or another program, it just kind of comes out really quickly, right? I'm not in my head about it. It's just flowing through me, right? And Andrew, I know you're the same way, and that's from meditation. So
she calls it meditation ROI.
It can save you so much time. And so many of my clients too will come to me and say, I don't have the time. Well, you don't have the time because you're doing all these things that are probably not aligned for you because you haven't taken the time to align, right?
Beautiful. Meditation ROI. I love that. Meditation return on investment. If anyone in the audience contemplates that, for every hour you put into meditation, there is a return on investment in flow. And it takes a while to clear the pipes out so that you can have a continuous ROI from each meditation. So many people start, stop, and then take a long vacation from self-transformation.
Yes. And it's just like, I tell my clients too, it's just like if you were training for a marathon, right? If you started running, I used to be a runner. So if you started running and you ran one day and then you take a week off and then you run one day and then you take a month off, that's a lot of what people do with meditation. They're like, well, it's too hard. I'm not getting it. I always tell people, if you just put in your calendar, you're doing that 15 minutes a day, and they're like, well, nothing's happening. Trust me, if you just stay with it, it is happening. You just don't know it yet, right? It's the same way if you commit to working out every day, and you do it consistently, you're going to be able to run that marathon, but it doesn't come out of nowhere, and you do have to build up to it, right? And once you get to that marathon level, then the running's easy. Then it's easier, right?
Right. Yeah. I've now done in 4.5 years, 755 shows.
Wow.
That's repetition. Each time I'm learning something new. Is every show a form of a meditation? Absolutely is, because it's the way of achieving the flow. But I didn't get that without the precursor work, which is the triathlon. You were talking about running. I call it mind, body, spirit training.
That's
the spiritual training to be able to be in flow for 2 hours, to feel the burn of the spiritual muscles, to know that I'm doing something more to not only aid myself on my life path, but those that also want to be on their life path.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, I love that.
So
I love that.
one of the questions we always ask people, so because the 5D life, you live your own life. It's self-defined. In 4D, you can say, I can give you my life. I can give you my map to my life. 5D, you have to teach people how to find their own map.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about asking questions, contemplating on questions, contemplating on the answers. And so one of the questions is, what is it that you know you're supposed to be doing that you're not doing? And they're like, oh, meditating or writing or, speaking or going out to groups or meeting people or whatever, right? Okay, then do that. It's like we have the map inside of our head. We just have to do it. Mm-hmm. And people think that they can be successful without doing the things that they know they need to do. So like meditation, mm-hmm. right? Like mm-hmm. people like, but the trick is in 4D, you can. Yeah. When you have a fourth dimensional consciousness, you can be successful without doing all the work. But for those of you who have made who higher self made a decision, I'm going all the way, baby. I'm going all the way. Give it to me. So in the fifth dimension consciousness, which is spiritual adulthood, it's like a spiritual 18-year-old, mm-hmm. where you're out of the house, you're on your own, right? Mm-hmm. In 5D, nothing can be out of alignment.
Right. It'll just throws everything else off. Everything starts to be really this energy puzzle. And when one thing's off, it throws everything
the feedback
else
mechanism.
Off. Yeah, you really feel it.
Yeah.
So return on investment, meditation, discipline. Now let's talk life path itself. One of the big things I try to tell people is life path. And one of the common questions I get every show is, what's my purpose? And my immediate answer to them is, it's not my job is not to tell you your purpose. You have an infinite amount of purpose. You are not limited to one purpose. You should have hundreds of purposes, and it is only myopia that prevents you from seeing that.
That's so good.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, so that. Myopia, but also it's having too much, having too many options. People are like, well, I could do massage, I could do Reiki, I could do energy work, I could do, I can help with people quit smoking, lose weight, clear their ancestors. What the hell is my life purpose? And so, so I mean, do you want us to give our how we help?
Just do an exercise.
Yeah. So in 5D, this is 5D. 5D is asking yourself at all times, if I could do anything, be anything, have anything, what would that be? It's a fucking lucid dream.
What do you want?
What do you want? You get to create it.
Yeah.
If I could be anything, have anything, do anything, what would that be? Okay, the answer to that is 5D. Now, all the reasons that come up of why I can't have those things are your 3D and 4D and leftover limiting beliefs. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's how you know. That's how the separation.
We could also call them the previous timeline or the future timeline. You want to let the future timeline pull you forward, right?
So the questions you want to ask yourself to find your life purpose are: if I could do anything, what would that be? Like, who is my higher self? Right. And so we have people go into meditation, speak to their higher self, and get that information from your higher self. So go to your higher self who's living in your dream home, living your dream life with your dream woman or dream man. Every day, what do you wake up and do? If you could wake up and do anything, do you write? Do you have a couple phone calls a day, coaching calls?
Do you make love to your beautiful partner right away?
What are your sessions, right? Mm-hmm. And so now you can start to paint a picture, because people say, what do I want? But they don't want to do the work to actually contemplate it. I mean, if people could just spend 6 hours in a day journaling, asking themselves questions, trying to figure it out instead of just asking rhetorical questions. Yeah. And I mean, Andrew, this is why I know this is why you tell them, you tell me, is because you could tell them this is your life purpose.
It wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter. They still wouldn't do it.
It wouldn't matter.
They'd say, no, it's not. They'd say, yeah, maybe, whatever. Like, people have to figure it out for themselves. Mm-hmm. So.
And I love this concept, Andrew, of, we're all ever evolving infinite beings, right? And infinity means unfinished. We're all unfinished. So I like to think of it in the way of I like to think of it as teach learning, right? What do you most want to learn in this moment right now, right? What are you most interested in learning? And what do you love learning? What lights you up and what do you love learning? Learn that and teach that and teach that and learn that, because you learn so much through teaching, right? Teaching is actually the best way to learn something. And that's really how our business has evolved, right? Mm-hmm. We started out with sexual healing work. Of course, that's still a huge piece of what we're teaching, but that evolved right into a lot of spirituality and then relationships. Exactly. We started bringing partners together and helping married couples have the best intimacy of their lives when they were on the brink of divorce. So that evolved. And then we started having people coming to us. We wanted to learn more about business. We were learning more about business.
Like the successful entrepreneurs are like, hey, I have a successful business. My life still sucks. What do I do about this? And so we got to see from behind the scenes how that wasn't working, and we had to figure out something new.
Right. And so we were learning about this, and then we got called to teach it. So that's a big key, I think, and it should be ever evolving. But what do you want to learn about? What's fun, you know?
And also, who do you want to hang out with?
Who do you want to hang out with?
Like, who do you want to spend all your time with? So, you know, when we first started, we were working with a lot of people with a lot of poverty consciousness, because we had poverty consciousness. And so we got so sick of like having these people that we so wanted to work with, but they're just like, I can't afford it. It was like $150.
So they were like, wait, I just went to, hold on. Can I get a payment? Can I get okay, I can pay next month. And they call you a month later. I can't pay.
They got me a post-dated check for a session we already did.
Post-dated check. Actually, don't cash it. Okay, wait, actually, I just went to Burning Man. I spent all my money. Can you wait another month to cash that check? I mean, this was real. These were real conversations we were having with people.
Yeah. So we got so sick of it. We said, I want to hang out with successful entrepreneurs. So those started being our clients.
I get between 30 and 80 emails per week that people demand a free private session from me.
Demand. If only you had time for that.
Right. And I mean, some of them are 50-page life stories with I have no ability to pay you, but maybe I can pay you next year.
Yes, or maybe I could do some kind of trade. Sometimes that's in there. We get a lot of those.
I mean, here's the thing, Andrew. I mean, the way that we met was I bought a session from you a year or two ago, and I had to wait like a month or two for my freaking session. And I paid like $1,000 for it.
And by the time it came, though, you were so excited, right? He was so excited. He's like, I got this call with Andrew Bartzis.
So I have no idea how you would be giving away free sessions. I mean, we do the same thing. Like that would really interrupt our lifestyle. Yeah. And I mean, if we're teaching lifestyle, if we're teaching, you know, where to put your focus, and this is part of why we do online programs, is so that we can give people the information without, you know, we only take our time to do it once.
Right.
It's leverage.
In my scenario, I do 2 live call-in shows a week and take between 3 and 12 callers. Sometimes I do 3 call-in shows a week, but there are those that demand free private time with no exchange of energy whatsoever.
Yeah.
Those are what you were calling poverty consciousness. I call it lack.
There's a sob story too. There's some kind of sob story.
Yeah. For all listening, don't do that.
Don't do it.
Stuck in mediocrity and have lack as a consciousness state of being. They lack everything.
Offended. Don't be offended. Just stop doing it.
Stop it.
Like it's the difference between getting into wealth consciousness, where if I want something, I will do anything to create it.
And I will make it happen.
No matter what.
Yeah. And then you value it. Yeah. You value it. Yeah.
So you were talking before about always learning. Part of life path, life purpose, is to know that you do have an infinite amount of purpose, an infinite amount of purposes. You just have to be willing to stop myopathy and allow yourself to intuit at a precognitive level, what is your heart saying? Go do. There are some people that just out there will not give their heart the space to tell them what they want to do. And this is the ones that come to us that do the meditation work, do this, but there's a heart blockage because they've been suppressed for so long.
Yeah, and they don't feel worthy, right? There's a lot of like not feeling worthy, not giving themselves permission. And then there's so much of this voice, we call it the voice, right? The voice of fear or the voice of the ego that says, you know, I'm not good enough. What do I have to offer? There are other people out there that are offering,
who am I to speak my opinion?
Right. Who am I to speak my opinion? There are other people out there offering something similar to what I'm offering.
What if somebody doesn't like what I say?
Right. There's all of these fear voices that hold us back.
Yeah. Yeah. So another thing that we talk about when helping people discover their niche, this is module 4, week 4 of 5D Business School, is helping you discover, like, what is your unique soul frequency of light that you're here to be on the planet, shooting up your spotlight. Like, here I am for all, this is 5D. This is 5D. For all of you that have been looking for this thing, I have it right here, right? Yeah. And it's going to be, like, whether I'm teaching this, like, whether I'm teaching enlightenment the same way that somebody else does it, I'm not the same person, right? I have a different attitude. I have a different energy. I have a different vibration. There's going to be like Osho's people are much different than our people. Your people are different than my people. Like we talk about different things at different times in different ways. And Andrew, through the course of our friendship and the hundreds of hours we've spent hanging out on the phone, we spend late nights laughing about the stuff that we thought we downloaded on our own, but that's all the same, just in different dialect.
Yeah, we're using different terminology or something. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So yours is able to be heard by your people. Ours is heard by our people. Sometimes they cross-pollinate, but they don't have to. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Like, what the world needs right now is more teachers, not less. More of the galactic green piece, not less. I mean, everybody talks about teachers being paid, teachers need to be paid like rock stars or professional athletes, and they're not in the public school systems. But you know what? You can be, and we are, and that's the trick, is like, we are the new teachers. The stuff they're teaching in high school and college and grade school is not useful to anybody. It's useful if you want a third dimensional job.
It's useful for slavery.
It's useful for the slave system.
Yeah.
But all of us, all of you that are downloading the next level of consciousness, we're here teaching people how to live life, how to be happy human beings, how to love, how to make love.
Right. How do you have a good life that you love? How do you love living your life?
Yeah, yes. And it's interesting that, people will pay $60,000 for an education, $100,000 for an education, but they'll balk at $1,000 phone call. Right. Yep. I mean, that's,
they'll value it as an $80 phone call, and anything more than that is woo-woo stuff I could never believe.
Yes.
Exactly. And the issue is that even when they get the $80 phone call, if it's $80, they give it $80 worth of their energy, $80 worth of their worth. Right. If they spend $1,000 on it, they're doing it. Oh, they're doing the work.
Right. You're gonna focus on that.
And then they get the results.
Not always. There are many that go to that investment level, and then the arguing for the limitations afterwards. I know I get a lot of sessions where you put so much truth on the table, when they go back to listen, they actually start arguing with the live recording, because their defenses are on and they're not on live with me again. And the ones that call back, we talk about, were you arguing with me? Yes, I was. And now I go, why? Why were you arguing? Because they weren't ready to make the leap into personal faith in themselves.
I had one of those the other day, Andrew, and it was so interesting because she was so on fire when she got off the phone with me, but it was a lot. It was a lot. And then I think it was 5 days later, and I'd given her this home play, because I give all my clients.
This is a client that Jen's wanted to work with for like 2-3 years.
She's a delightful woman. She really is. And she's had some setbacks in her life. So, she's been going through some depression and things like that. And so I gave her some action steps to take. And I said, check in with me, in a week or two when you've completed the action steps, and let me know where you're at, and we'll fine tune. And so she checked back in with me 5 days later, and she's very mopey. And she was like, I'm not getting the result yet. And I said, well, did you do? I mean, I'd given her a, list of, I think, about 6 things to do, right? And she had done one of them. And I said, wait, well, what have you done so far? And she said, well, I've been meditating daily. And I said, okay, great. did you take the action steps from the meditation in your business to yield a result? Well, no, I haven't done that yet. Okay. So it's
and that's
really
true, because when she pays $888 for a phone call,
right,
oftentimes they expect that the work's they're gonna do the work for them.
Like the work's gonna get done on you, right? So I had to really explain to her in detail that this work is gonna play out over time, and the results are going to happen over time from action steps that you take. You have to take action.
And we know that, so because all of our friends and peers are really high level in the business coaching industry and stuff like that, we understand that, people will sign up for a program and then not actually do it, not actually go through it, not actually complete it to get to, or we've had people in our program, 5D Business School, watch the videos and then call me and they're like, what's my life purpose? And I'm like, do the fucking program.
Do the homework.
And they're like, I did do the program. And we're like, no, because module 1, the very first step, is helping you create your life purpose. And they're like, well, we just watched the videos. We didn't do any of it. And so they actually went through it again and they actually did it. Now they're like,
on fire.
Oh, they're on fire. They're in the walls. She's on stage, like rocking it.
Oh, they're doing so many speeches.
She's like, my body's on fire. And we're like, that is what happens when you do the work. It seems hard. It feels hard. It feels like a lot. But that's the difference between someone who's not successful and somebody who is successful. Not successful is an identity that will keep you in not wanting to do the work. Successful is doing the goddamn work anyway, feeling the energy that comes from that transformation. That's what happens.
Hear Ben's passion. No matter if you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company or a shaman in practice to be a healer, it requires the same mechanics.
Yep.
Truth.
Yep.
Same mechanics.
It's a bullet. It's a full metal jacket bullet that needs to puncture everything, every block in the way.
Yes.
That just can't happen. And after you puncture the blocks, then you can ohm and relax and all that. I'm not usually this amped up, but I am when I get excited.
Yeah.
You got to be able to get excited about what you do. So many people are worried of too much excitement. Why are you worried of excitement?
Energy.
Yeah.
We just had another client contact Ben. What was it, yesterday? That just made his first 30,000.
Today.
Was it today?
Yeah.
That he went through 5D Business School. He wasn't really making barely anything before he went through it, and he just made his first $30,000 pay in full sale. Like, I mean, but he really did the work.
And he's
really doing.
He's someone that we have
steps.
let do work on us in the past.
Phenomenal.
He's incredible, but just had the mindset. Like, he's like the best kept secret, right? So he sold the $100,000 program, but the guy's wife was like, "You paid what?" And so he ended up, settling for a $30K as to start with. But this is what we say is like in 3D, you have to go to school, you have to get the certification, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to get a good job, you have to get a marriage, white picket fence, invest in your IRA, right? In 4D, you have to do the 5-step process to build your list. You have to do this, 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 and if you want your goal, you have to do this, this, this. And that's true until you get to 5D. When you get to 5D, you snap your fingers and magic happens. It is the dream. And so that's where in module 4 and 5, we say money falls out of the sky. Yeah. It's like, but you have to do the work to get there, and then the magic happens.
See, money is no longer limited to trees. It calls from the skies.
I like that.
I call that turning on the tap of the money.
Make it rain. Make it rain.
Make it rain, exactly. Make it rain. Just not quarters. You want $100 bills. That's lack consciousness gets you pennies and quarters rained on you.
And it just hurts. It just hurts, those pennies.
Exactly. And it takes forever to collect them and take them to the bank.
So they're happy.
Exactly. So whether it's CEOs, shamanism, healing, whatever it is, without that passion, without that spark, that taste, that desire to go and do, that is why people get stuck. I don't know my purpose, because they're afraid to get out of neutral, take the parking gear off, and get on the freeway ramp and go at 65 and not grandma 35 on the freeway.
Yeah.
Out of my way, grandma.
Exactly. Out of my way, silver hair.
That's the thing. Lead follower, get out of the way, right? We just wrote an article the other day of, it's like I see leaders post something, like post their like incredible ideas, and then have people like, shit on them online.
Right.
And Jen and I are like, instead of shitting on other people's stuff, just create your own stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's a big difference between somebody who's actually having an impact and just, like, I mean, it's so much easier to post on somebody else's thing instead of out to your public.
Yeah. Oh, you should do it differently. Great. You've got a better idea. Go take that and use it. Please use it.
I like to say, is your life purpose to be a Facebook ghost?
Yeah.
Is your life purpose to be a Facebook poster? Is your life purpose to be a social media commenter and always a follower and never a doer?
Yeah.
Most people accept Facebook posting as their life purpose. That's how they can change people. No, you can't change people through Facebook.
No, exactly.
Yeah, we always tell people, as soon as you're not enjoying what the leaders are saying, you start leading. As soon as you're done following, you have to start leading. And 5D Business School is actually it's our map to getting to your highest self and getting rid of us, right? So we can help people get to their higher self. We say our life purpose is to help people not need us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To get to the point where people are self-sufficient. I mean, once they know how to
their own downloads.
Once they know how to do their own work, and I mean, every once in a while you need a third person perspective. At this point, when I get my sessions from Jen, I get my insights from Jen, she gets hers from me. If I need something, like usually if I buy a session with somebody, it's because I want to meet them. Yeah. It's because they have something that I want. And so, like, that's why I connected with Andrew. That's why we connected with a lot of the people that we've connected with that we can't just get in touch with, is I pay for their time. I pay what they're worth. I give them my money, and now they give me time, and then we develop a friendship, right? Exactly. And so I feel like everyone, I mean, we're, the issue with talk therapy tends to be that it's a 10-year process, a 20 or 30-year process, where there's no necessary, like, it's a good 3D process to have. But Jen and I aren't interested in that. We don't have the kind of business where we want someone to hang around with us for 5 years. We want to give someone what they need to do, have them go out and do it, and become their own light worker, their own healer, their own boss, their own creator.
They're not your third wheel. They're not your fourth kid.
Yeah, they're not our disciple, you know?
Please get and really getting their own, so many people, everyone is actually so intuitive, right? But people don't trust themselves. And most people don't understand the different ways that their intuition comes in. Like, some people it's in their gut, some people it's mainly in their heart, some people it's mainly in their third eye, right? We have these different intuitive centers. So many people come to me, Andrew, too, for readings, and same thing. They want me to tell them everything. And it is so often that I'm like, okay, I can give you this, but my guides won't even let me give you that. But they want you to know this, but they want you to do that. And it's really about helping them connect with their own intuition and trust their own intuition. Most people have it. We all have it, but most people just don't trust it.
They confuse expectation versus intuition.
Yes.
That's a tricky one to learn when you're stuck in mediocrity and everything's a simple answer. Nothing's a simple answer, really. There's always a complex process to get to it. It may seem like a simple answer. Like, one of my big thing is when you're talking to entities that are constantly projecting at you and you said no to them, and you say to the entity, what part of no don't you understand? The N or the O? When you use potent, powerful statements, you stop projections at you. Whether it's a physical person that's pissed off at you and they're just sending energy, and when you say no with such force, or what part of no don't you understand, you demasculate that energy and its ability to project at you. People mired in mediocrity have no internal space to throw off the projections. That's why they're mired in mediocrity in the first place.
Yes.
And for them to get inner strength, it requires discipline, it requires meditation, it requires eating good. All the stuff they don't want to admit they should have been doing the last 22 years.
Yeah. So Jen and I call that the hostile takeover, right? And so, like, it is simple. It is, what part of no don't you understand? It is stop. We have people, like, practice, like, in our full-on explosive sexual healing sessions, we have them practice their stop. You don't need an explanation. You don't need to tell them why you want them to stop. You're the fucking boss. You're the dreamer. It stops when you say it does.
Well, and every single time we have our clients, every single session we have our clients practice saying stop. And I think 9.9 times out of 10, even after explaining that in detail, there's an explanation. Stop. Well, I just said stop because you told me to say stop because I don't need the stop, but ha ha ha, rather than just stop.
So it's kind of like the iPhone, right? Where the UX, the user experience of the iPhone is very clean and clear and everything's well laid out because it's so complex behind the scenes, right? And so, I was just talking the other day, Jen and I were meditating a couple days ago, and I came out of meditation and I was talking about computer code. Like, we live in a computer, we live in a matrix, in an artificial intelligence simulation. And so I've been looking for the code. Where's the code? What's the proof? And the code is the penal code. It's our laws. So I'm explaining about, when you write code for like Apple iOS or Windows, Apple, you can't adjust at all, right? Apple is Apple. They don't let you touch anything. Windows, you can go behind the scenes a little bit. Linux, you can do a lot. You can program your stuff. Life, you get to, so I literally spent a half an hour explaining my download about how lawyers are the keepers of the laws, and if we don't understand the laws, and then it's like the universal laws, and how do we get the universal laws and meditation and all this, and so I was explaining it, and I said, like, the reason that people don't often have access to their coder, to being a coder, to actually change a line of code in their system, is because if you don't know how to code, you're going to fuck something up, right?
Yeah.
If you have an emotional breakdown, you're gonna write an emotional code that's going to fuck something up, right?
Yeah.
And I said, so when you're able to code, you've got to be super careful, because if you start pounding on the walls, and right as I hit the wall, there was a 5.3 earthquake, boom, shook the entire
whole house
town.
was shaking. It was literally timed so
and now
perfectly.
we were on a drug trip immediately. We were on a mushroom trip immediately, and we were like, okay, it's time. It's time. It's time to be responsible, right? It's time you have to be very careful with the code that you're writing,
Yes.
And sometimes the signs in your lucid dream are subtle, and sometimes they're earth shaking, and either way you got to pay attention.
Yes. So let's touch on the explosive sexual healing. Now, that is a system that's still trauma release. It's still getting at the roots and the base, and it's a healing system. So kind of define that for people. Yeah.
So it was when we started 5 years ago, we were calling it explosive sexual healing. And it has since evolved over the years. We change, we upgrade every 6 months. And as we become different people and with different knowledge, it became a much more multidimensional thing. We realized that this healing modality that we download was perfectly suited to get people in their bodies, in their comfort, and in their enlightenment at the same time, and grounded and integrated it together, right? Turn the power on, right? Like, ground in the lightning rod. And so we started calling it multidimensional awakening. And initially, it was just based on brain scans and medical journals and peer-reviewed articles on, the way that the female brain in orgasm completely shuts down. Certain areas shut down, certain areas light up. So what we realized really quickly is that this is her access into the mainframe. And there's a level of orgasm, a level of climax that I discovered that nobody else has discovered. It's like most orgasm, even the best orgasms are here. We take it here, right? So there's a point where she says, whoa, that's way too much. Yep. Stop. I liked it way better before, That's
too intense. That is too much pleasure.
I feel like if I let go, I'm going to die, is what she says. Yeah. And that's what it is. She hits up against the matrix, up against the glass ceiling. So we spend several sessions walking her through the experience of what's going to happen when she gets there, and then how to break through that glass ceiling. And when she does, she leaves the matrix. She leaves the computer program.
Samadhi. And
from there, she's given us affirmations that she wants to be integrated into her. So it's like hacking into a computer program. The computer program's open. We install a couple new lines of code. So this code might be, I love myself, I trust myself, I forgive myself, I'm with my life partner now, I've got $100,000 in my bank account, I'm on life purpose, whatever it is. We say, what is it that you would need to believe on a cellular level that would change everything instantly?
So
right?
when they've reached that climax is where that form of coaching comes through. I do something similar where I have them do a repeat after me for trauma release from abuse and stuff. But you're using the high frequency of the orgasm and the hitting of the glass ceiling to erase that glass ceiling so you can begin to insert positive programs that can break down the house of cards.
Yes. And it literally changes their entire identity, because when you don't have all the other programs, you know, I mean, people can do mirror work and say the I am statements till they're blue in the face, and it's all wonderful work. It's all wonderful work. But when there's all these other voices saying, you say I'm beautiful, and you say I'm trust myself, but meanwhile the voice in your head is screaming, no, you're not, you're ugly, and no, you shouldn't trust yourself, right? So when that voice goes offline, they have this new identity, just like that. And literally our clients will, it's such a funny thing, they will literally forget, like, oh, I thought I didn't know I was beautiful before, or I didn't trust myself. They'll forget. We
have them fill out an application, an intake form before they work with us. What is it that you want? What's the next level future you? What is it? And so she'll list all these things. I want my life partner. I want my dream business. I want this. I want that. I want whatever. And then after, 6 months, 9 months, however long it is that takes us to complete the program, she looks back and, so at first we were like, so how was it? And she was like, good. It was good. And we're like, what do you mean it was like, we're like, you've got your life partner, you've got your business, you've got your life, you are not the same person. Like, you literally look different. Like, our clients will open the door for their last session and we're like,
completely different.
Like, you look like your attractive twin, like the wrinkles are gone.
You're more vibrant.
You're
twin.
Radiant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is, and the other thing is, we all know that we manifest through vibration. We attract through the vibration we're at. This level of climax is the highest vibration humanly possible. It's the highest state of consciousness humanly possible. So anytime
it's natural.
Natural.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Built into your DNA that you have the orgasm button.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we call it, the orgasm button.
Good.
So and that's the difference too, is, people will come in first and they're like freaked out. They're like, because we work with successful entrepreneurs, successful businesswomen, they would never do anything like this. But Jen and I are pretty normal, right? And so they come in, they do it after the first session, they're like,
that wasn't weird at all.
That wasn't weird at all. There was nothing, I don't know what I was so freaked out about.
Yeah.
And she also says about her orgasm, coming in, she says, well, I could see how that would be possible for other women, but it's not possible for me.
And what if I'm the only one that this doesn't work for? Like, they almost all say that.
Like, I've never orgasmed in my life. Yeah. What if I can't achieve? And we're like, we got you.
Don't worry about it.
We got you. It's like there's a map. It's like turn left to the store. You get turn left, turn right, turn left. We've got the map. It's simple.
You have a G spot on your body. We got
That's all you need.
Yeah. So, you are not some hybrid without a G spot.
Internet statistics say that only 1 out of 3 women can achieve G-spot orgasm. So we tend to say we work with the other 2/3. The other 2/3 that can't achieve it, because we just, it's like, it didn't work the first time. Now they're like, it doesn't work for me, but it does. It just requires some retraining.
Right.
But after the first time they experience it, we call it a full release G-spot orgasm, because at first it's like, whoa!
Yeah, they're like punching. It's like getting hooked up to an electric socket. It's like, whoa, that's a lot of energy.
And then after they know how to do it, then they release and they just go back to their freaking home planet, They're gone. There's not a voice in their head. There's not a thing in their head in the way. We just implant the new code, right? We just code real quick. And then she's done. And then she all comes out and says, whoa, that was like 5-MeO DMT, or that was like a couple hits of acid, or that was like mushrooms or ayahuasca, or whatever
her plant medicine
experience has been.
Yes, yes.
Because we naturally produce all that stuff in our brain in the orgasmic state. It goes, blue, here you go.
Exactly.
THC, DMT, here you go. Here's a whole serving of it.
So the other thing is that it's a perfect feedback mechanism where we tell them step by step, this is what the voice is going to say here. This is what's going to happen to you here. And it's the same thing when you go to get on stage, or when you go to stop doing this, or when you go to
have a baby. When you go to have a baby,
it's the same thing when you're having a baby.
It's such a similar process to birthing, where right before the baby comes out, most women have the, if they haven't taken all the meds and gotten the epidural and they're doing natural and they're not totally, checked out, almost all women will say something like, oh my God, I thought I was going to die. I thought I couldn't do it anymore. And it's like right at that point that's the point when the baby's going to come out, right? It's right there.
And Jen has had 3 extremely easy births, and our clients tend to have really easy birth and have easy everything, because we teach them on a physical level how, like using the orgasm as an X marks a spot on the map, how to get there. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. And now they have
the voice is going to say this. When it says that, you're going to do this.
And so now they have it's an experience that's anchored to their physical container, that if I work through my fears, if I do what freaks me out, if I go against that one voice in my head, I know I will receive the most pleasure I've ever received in my entire life.
Yes.
So now they take it out. Now they know which direction to head in their life to create pleasure, which voices to listen to, the voice of the intuition, and which ones not to listen to, the voice of the ego, the voice of the old identity.
Right, the voice of you gonna die, all that is part of you is gonna die, and part of you is about to be reborn, right? There's this ending of the old identity, and there's a rebirth that's about to happen. So if people can understand that, you can move through it, right? Yeah. And that's what everyone wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and take some callers.
Yay!
So, Robert, do we have callers? I see a big list over there.
Have a few. Our first caller will be Gregor Z.
Gregor, are you there?
Gregor?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Gregor. Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Stanford.
Well, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for the invitation. And I recently get to know you. Like, the synchronicity just kicked me up. Sorry for my English. I'm from Poland.
Very good.
And my synchronicity kicked me. So I met you. And you just, opened my mind and helped me a lot. Through that couple days, I guess, I just, tried to catch up with your stuff, with your movies, etc. And I think it's the place I should be right now. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And thank you for the codes, DNA codes. My body's shaking since 2 last days. Just all these waves through my body. Yeah, it's really awesome. Thank you very much.
Outstanding. So what question did you want to ask today to Ben or Jen or myself?
I don't even have some questions, I prepare probably what's gonna happen on 23.
Nothing.
What do you guys?
Nothing.
Just
same
nothing.
thing that always happens.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, because I involved with the Prime Creator group. We have some group. I'm part of the council, Heaven in Earth, and we have channels from Prime Creator, and he just said that he gonna create a temporary timelines for 4 and 5D to push us. Some people push up to accelerate this ascension process.
Nope, none of that's gonna happen. Sorry to burst your bubble, but for anything to happen, it has to happen at an individual level before groups begin to grow. There has to be massive individual manifestation for what you're saying to take place. The ascended masters are not in physical bodies. As long as they're not in physical bodies, it's still the era where we do it ourselves. They left because they realized we were some lazy humans, and that if they stayed influencing us like a chocolate souffle, if you open the door too early, you keep sinking. That means each person is their own individual chocolate souffle who must do their own work, get to their own intuition, their own understanding, separate of all of these groups. And then once they've done their own work, they will search groups. There's thousands of groups out there that actually do nothing. They have these great meditations, but they make no impact on the global system. Because too many people have this lofty idea that this one person's going to hit the system with this meditation and snap, it's all done. Bullshit. The aliens are not going to come down. The RV's not going to reset. Nothing is going to happen tomorrow until you make it happen individually in your own soul, in your own bubble of reality.
Can I say something? Can I jump in? So in our membership program, we do we have a weekly membership called Sovereign You. We do weekly Q&A calls. And it was a couple months ago, it was another one of these like big dates that, big planetary shifts, sunspots, ascension. Mm-hmm. And she was like crying. She was like, this was an ascension. I missed it.
I missed the boat. I missed the boat.
I didn't ascend. What happened? Like, I feel like my guides are disappointed in me. And we're like, no.
I feel like I'm letting everyone down.
We're like, no, this is it. You haven't let anyone down yet.
It's happening now.
It's time now. It's time to get to work now. And, like Andrew said, it is happening on an individual level. And as the consciousness is expanding, as individuals, some of us are already in heaven. Some of us have already ascended. And some of us are still in hell. And the ones who are in hell is going to amplify, and the ones who are in heaven are going to amplify, because we are splitting, right? Mm-hmm. The more teachers are out there, the less people are going to be able to do the shit anymore. Exactly. The less people are going to be in their own shit and in their own negative stuff anymore. Mm-hmm. And so, people are learning that I can't be around toxic people anymore in my life. I need to push the toxic people out of my life. Mm-hmm. So the toxic people can go hang out by themselves wherever they're at. The bankers can go hang out by themselves. I mean, there is a lot of information that's coming out around pedophiles in the government, pedophiles in the Catholic Church. And
that's thousands of years old, though.
Yeah,
well, of course. It's finally being released. Like, there was just this mass grave that was found of children at a Catholic orphanage. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So all this stuff is coming out now, and people are not going to put up with it anymore. There is going to be a clear break at some point because we demand it. But like Andrew said, it's going to be us doing it. Mm-hmm. It's not. There will never be anything that will happen to us. It's like, we were talking earlier about somebody paying for a phone call, wanting us to do the work, or wanting to meditate so that somebody gives me all the answers. Like, we still got to crash and burn. We still got to trial and error.
Yeah, and I've gotten such similar information too. And Andrew, I know we have a lot of the same, guides or groups that we work with. So similar. We're all connected, and same thing. They've been saying to me, it would be like. This is the way they explain it to me because I'm a mother, right? They're like, it would be like if you, with the ETs coming down to save us and these sorts of things, it would be like with your children, if you just did everything for them and tried to do everything, like that doesn't benefit them. Like, your children, the best way to teach children is through role modeling. And of course, if they come to you, you're going to give them, the best advice. If they ask you questions, right, you're going to give them the best advice as the parents. But if they came in and did it all for us, what's the point? It would be the same thing with our children. If we just do everything for them, they don't learn anything for themselves. So it's not useful for anyone.
I also crack up about the full disclosure, talks. I always think, well, it is disclosed that we already know all. We
already know. It's the only thing that doesn't.
Why do we need this guy called the president?
To
say it, right? It's like we make fun of the mainstream media all day, but we're waiting for them. Like, what we want is we're like, mainstream sucks. Mainstream sucks. Oh, they talked about an alien. Mainstream talked about it. It's like, who cares? Like, we already know.
That's the global narrative. The global narrative never changes, and that is why my answer: nothing happens tomorrow, the next day, and the day after that, because the only thing that can change the global narrative are hurricanes and earthquakes, not even war. The global narrative goes on saying physics is this way. The global narrative goes on saying women are treated this way in India. The global narrative goes on saying money is the valuation for anything. The global narrative of disbelief in personalities or psychic energies, that global narrative denial goes on because it's a belief engine system.
And that's because the sensitivity is turned way down. And so we call it forced evolution versus preemptive evolution.
Right.
Preemptive evolution is like, oh, that's not right. Let's change this. Forced evolution is like, you know, you need war, you need catastrophe, you need horror, you need shit in your life.
Plagues, famine, war.
To actually
drought.
wake up and do something and make a change in your life.
No.
Like it is the standard narrative right now because people are so asleep. So as we can turn up the sensitivity and teach people how to become lucid in the dream, lucid in their life, now everybody is playing their role. So we're in this big play where everyone's like, hey, what's my role? What role am I playing in this play? Well, you get to make it up. What role do you want to play? Now play it 100%. And that's the purpose of life.
Right.
The purpose of life, people are like, what's the purpose
Create your
of life?
character, cast your character.
Create your character, then play your fucking
Play your
character.
character.
That's it. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Don't worry about the rest of the planet. You know, we felt the energy in the U.S. was shifting, and so we wanted to be in a different energy. So we came to Costa Rica. I don't care what the U.S. does. I don't care. I am going to go where I'm told, and
Beautiful.
it's working.
You know, when you're talking about the play, so many people see themselves as the understudy who never goes on stage, and that's what they create. Just a studier who never gets the moment in the light.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's like, just get on stage.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. If you're gonna get on stage and you're gonna play a role, play it fully, right? It doesn't mean that you forget that off stage you're just an actor, right? None of it's real, but play it full out. Have fun with it.
Well, the other thing that Jen's been talking about is that, you know, the A-list change workers are leaving the planet, right?
Yeah,
those that have been on stage, right? Like the Wayne Dyers, the Louise Hay
just crossed over.
Who else? I mean, there's a lot of these people that are transitioning out. They're getting older. In another, like we're in preparation right now.
In another decade, we're going to have
another
quite a few of them
decade, 2
crossing
decades.
over.
You know, like it's like, hey, you're on stage. Like,
well,
we need someone to fill that spot.
There's a passing of the torch, right? There's
Doreen Virtue just shut down everything she was doing and denounced all of her angel cards and went over to Team Christian, Team Jesus. And so it's like, okay,
I call it Team Yahweh.
someone's got to take her place, you know?
Sold out. SOULED. Sold out.
I think she needed to retire.
Yeah.
I think she needed a break.
Yeah, I mean, she could have, yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, there are graceful ways to do that.
One hell of a preacher, spoke a lot of words to her. Whatever. All right, let's move on to the next caller.
Okay.
Good question. Thanks for letting us talk.
Yeah.
Okay, our next caller is Braden.
Braden, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, where are you calling from today?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Charleston, South Carolina. Welcome to the show. What questions do you have for Ben and Jen and myself?
Oh, so many, but thank you for having me on your show.
Welcome.
So I've been messing with, I shouldn't say messing, I've been trying to figure out which direction I'm going to take.
Okay. Are you an actor or are you an understudy?
I suppose understudy, but I'm trying to be an actor.
And what is it that the nature of what is it that you're supposed to do in your life?
I feel like I could do a lot of things. I'm having trouble dialing it in.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if you have anything, do anything, be anything, what would that be?
One more time?
If you could have anything or be anything or do anything, what would it be?
It's your dream. You get to make it up.
I mean, I want to bring about world peace.
Okay, set your bar a little lower there, man.
I know. But I also want to help everyone around me.
Set your bar a little lower now. It's about you, not everyone else. You are externalizing all of your energy and not giving yourself any of the gifts there by being stuck in what? An indecision, hesitation state.
Right.
Team service to others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They score a lot, don't they? Because everyone else is playing for their team.
So do I need to pick a team?
Or no, as soon as you pick sides, you've already lost. Right. Yourself is not a side. Yourself is not a faction. Yourself is you as your own soul-based existence who gets the ability to have sovereign free will and defining what that means to you. So every time you find yourself in hesitation, you've got to say no. And then myself, what part of no don't you understand? I'm making decision and following through.
Right.
So let me jump in. So there's, can you hear me, by the way?
I can.
Okay, great. So you're not going to nail it the first time. You got to try something though. So like take the time, ask yourself the question, if I could do anything, like how specifically do I want to help people? Like you got to get really specific. In order for somebody to give you the money that you need to live your life purpose fully without having to have a side gig, it's, you know, you can't sell world peace. World peace doesn't sell. Nobody's going to pay you money to do world peace. So you've got to start small. And what is it that you are already good at? What is it that your friends and those around you, your family, are already coming to you and asking you questions that you already have the answers for, right? So start there, right? That's what you're supposed to be doing starting now. And then you start doing it, and then you're going to either really love it and get really good at it and expand, or you're going to say, I don't really love it, and you're going to pivot. Maybe you want to work with a different type of people, like we talked about before. Maybe you want to do something different, and then you're going to pivot somewhere else. But either way, you're walking this path, and you don't have a map right now, but you got to keep moving forward. And so as long as you stay lucid and stay, we talk about it like 3 steps. The first step is meditate on it, think about it, write about it, get an intuition. What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? What's the step I'm supposed to take? Number 2, it's really simple. Take the step, take the action. Number 3, reflect on the action, right?
You can't fake any of those.
What's that?
You can't fake any of those.
No.
Yeah. And then the most important part is all 3 of them. But don't skip the reflection after the action. So this is what Jen was saying people do is just move without taking the time to reflect, and that's what meditation is. And if something doesn't work out, you know, people tend to like, oh, it didn't work out. See, I'm not supposed to be doing this. See, I got to go back to getting a job. Instead of saying, okay, well, how can I make this work out? What's next? What could I have done differently that I can do differently next time?
How can I learn from it? How can I learn from it? If this played out differently, how can I learn from it? What am I going to do differently next time?
So what we say a lot is people are paying for your education. So as a coach, as a mentor, as a helper or a healer or a teacher or whatever it is you do, people are paying you to give them advice, to help them do whatever it is you're here to do. And you're figuring it out as you go, right? You're at the front of the curve. You're riding that wave. You know, you're getting paid to ride the wave and figure out how to do it. And so, like, that's how you learn about riding a wave. You got to get on the board. You got to get on your stomach and start paddling. You can't just read a book about how to surf, right? Or watch a video on on watching somebody else surf, right? It's a much different thing than actually getting out there and doing it. So yeah, figure out what you want to do and start. I mean, if you want to create your dream, am I right?
Right.
So the way you do it is to figure out what's your dream. So for where you're at right now, the extent that you think your dream is really like probably right here. But once you get here, once you get to your dream, you're like, oh shit, there's so much more out here. Now I'm going to go here. Now you're out here. Now you're, you know, and you just keep climbing that ladder. And so it's all a game. There's never an end to it. You know, it's like you can play it or not play it. There's no, you know, you do what you want to do. It's your dream. You get to make up your own rules. You know, you just need a structure on how to, you know, you need the scaffolding. You need the, we call it building your kingdom walls, right? It's your energy puzzle. How do I create my life in a way where now I can see clearly what I like, what I don't like? Okay, I don't like that job anymore. So I clearly need to get out of that job. Do I wait another year? Am I supposed to save up in my bank account? Am I supposed to do this? You know, it's like you get to make it all up.
I really liked what you said that Brain fart.
Okay, let me ask you a question while you're farting over there. My question to you is, what is it that you know you're supposed to be doing that you're not doing?
Everything.
So you're
specific.
Yeah, so your brain's got you floating around with everything, world peace, like it's really meta. We got to get down to like baby steps, one step at a time. Is it meditation? Is it public speaking? Is it sitting down and writing about what you do? Is it quitting your job?
It's one specific thing.
Yeah.
It's giving steps. Is that correct, Kenna?
Say it again.
I'm skipping steps basically?
No, you're not on the game board.
Just answer the question. You just pick something. So it's really simple, actually. Just pick one thing, one very specific action step for you to take.
I gotcha. Oh, I mean,
you already know what it is. There's no guessing game. There's every day this voice in your head's like, hey man, hey brother, come on dude, it's time to quit. It's time to start your life purpose. Hey, you got to get to that yoga class. You got to stop eating shit. You know, like what is the voice telling you? It's been saying it earlier today.
Stop smoking those cigarettes.
Yeah,
whatever.
What is it you know you need to do?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Are you at work right now?
I'm definitely gonna think about this, of course.
No, it's a problem. You got to stop thinking and just start, so this is where intuition comes in. We call it external state directly. I'm going to hold your ass to the wall here. We call it external state directly represents your internal state. You open your mouth and an answer comes out.
Just say something. Pick something.
Well, I think someone else. Okay, I can hear you now. Sorry.
All right, pick something. Get on the game board. We're holding your feet to the fire here. What is it, the thing that you need to do most that has been nagging at you for decades? It's not an answer.
Maybe create my own piece to the game.
Yeah. Grounded down into an actual step.
Real thing that you can do in the third dimension.
What does that look like? Creating your own piece. What does that look like?
Get out of light work or delusion land.
Okay. So I always known I do want to open my own business or company or something like that. I do want that, but I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to go about it.
Are you working a job right now?
What's that?
Are you working at a job right now?
Yes. I'm at, I was actually begged to come back to a grocery store in a deli.
And I'm sorry, he wants to grocery store and
deli. He works at a grocery store and a deli.
Okay, great. So in order to get fully on your life purpose, at some point you're going to need to quit your job. That's an action step. That's a very real, very grounded, very tangible action step.
I wouldn't recommend doing it first.
I would recommend doing it first.
But so when you start getting a step like that, I need to quit my job, now your brain's thinking, okay, what do I need to do to quit that job? You're not thinking, I can't quit my job because bills, this, that, I don't know what to do. You got to ask the question, I know I need to, this is for everybody that's listening too. This isn't just for Braden. It's, okay, I know I need to quit my job. What do I have to do to quit my job? Okay, you got to get really clear on what it is that you want to do. Like there's game plan piece here. And so you got to like take your next day off. Take like 12 hours in a day to just write, what do I want to do? What am I good at? Make a list of what are all the things you're good at. Every time you're at work, what do you help? I know you because I've done jobs like this. And every fucking day I'm helping my coworkers. I'm like Mr. Guru, you know, at the post. I was a mailman before I met Jen, right? And before that I was working at Dreyer's Ice Cream and I was a photographer at sporting events and I did all these jobs. And every single job I'm like the go-to guy for relationship advice and, you know, and so like what are the things that it's like you you are this thing, so you don't know what it is because you don't know the difference between what you are and what you're not. So sometimes it helps to ask somebody around you, you know, who am I? What do you think about me? Like, what are my gifts? But those are like it's time for deep reflection and massive action. And it's the action. So I posted something on Facebook the other day. I posted a quote that said, I just reposted it from a year ago, popped up in my feed. It said, if you're, help me with this. What is it?
If
you're not qualified to leap without knowing, then you're not qualified to know.
Beautiful.
I'll say it again. If you're not qualified to leap without knowing, then you're not qualified to know. That means you gotta think up an action and take the action even though you have no idea how it's gonna turn out, because by taking the action is how you actually get the information. By failing, by fucking it up is how you actually get the information. And then you grow from it and grow from it and grow from it. So anyway, that's my advice to you. Figure it out and take action.
And there may be, you know, for most of you listening to this, there's usually some kind of interim between quitting your job. Maybe you start to cut back your hours if you're working full time. Maybe you start to take some classes or courses or certifications, you know, or 5D business school, or you attend Andrew's amazing event. You start to do some things kind of in the meantime where you're kind of learning, right? This is usually the way it works for most people. And then eventually maybe you start your part-time business on the side. This is kind of what Ben and I did. It still wasn't really bringing in the money. And then eventually you quit and then you go full-time into your business. So for you, my sense is that there may be some cutting down of your hours a bit. There may be some, you know, investing in some of these, you know, different events or programs or reading books. And what you have to look at what you're drawn to. What do you love? And just do that. And something, you don't have to know how it all fits together right now, but what you're drawn to, like if you're drawn to Andrew's event, there's something in there that you're going to learn that's probably a piece of your life purpose, and you don't have to know how it all fits together yet. You just go, and then it will come to you in time.
Come shake our hand at Andrew's event.
Yeah.
I would
you can't.
I'm going
to. Go ahead.
But I'm going to my sister's wedding in September, and I'm going to see my dad in Colorado and brother and sister in December. But I did want to go to the show.
No, you still can.
Yep.
You just got to make it happen. You got to be passionate and out of mediocrity and realize you can no longer sell world peace. No one's buying it for the last 1,000 years. You can't even give world peace away for free. No one wants it right now.
Nobody learns from world peace.
True story.
But again, that's the old paradigm. Old paradigm is you need strife. You need the sand in the oyster shell to grow from. In 5D, you step out of that whole game and you grow on purpose. Yeah. Right? You don't wait for something shitty to happen.
You move towards. You just keep it's forward motivation.
So
right?
So I'll give you one last piece. One last piece, Braden. Again, I talked about the difference between proactive evolution and forced evolution. It happens on a global level, and it also happens on an individual level. So for somebody like you who knows you have a big purpose, you can only wait so long before there's a forced evolution and something happens in your job or something breaks. You get fired, you leave, and now there's a whole fire you've got to put out. The easier way to do it is to make it happen when things are kind of flowing smooth, right? The preemptive evolution, it's when you don't have to. It's when the voice, the intuition comes in and says, you're supposed to do something big. And you say, okay, right? Like we said before, we just do what we're told. Okay, I'm supposed to do something big, and now start doing it.
All right, Braden, thank you so much. Let's move on to the next caller.
Next caller will be from Irvine.
Irvine, California. Are you there? Irvine, California. Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times.
I feel like I can almost hear her.
I can hear
she's saying, can you hear me?
I can hear a tiny whisper.
It's like,
we can't hear you, darling.
Oh, bummer.
Send you good vibes.
We love
wherever
you.
are.
Yeah, we're sending you love.
All right. Let's go to the next caller.
Mark from Victoria.
Mark from Victoria, British Columbia. Are you there? Mark, is that you?
I love BC.
Do they know how to use phones in BC?
Irvine, what's up, man?
Are you there, Mark? No.
Hey, I would like to point out to Mark and to Irvine that even though you didn't get your question answered, you still get to learn something when you're lucid in the dream and you get to ask what happened.
Exactly. What happened? I was there. I have this thing called the Wheel of Callers. You know, sometimes there's 20 people in the room. Sometimes there's 10. Sometimes there's 700. And there were times on other radio shows it would be 5,000 people calling in the first 30 seconds.
Oh my God.
So it's the Wheel of Callers. So whatever synchronicities are supposed to come through happen.
Yeah.
All right. Who do we have next on the Wheel of Callers? This will be our last call. Do we have an out-of-country guy?
Let's see.
Do we have someone in Costa Rica besides us?
That'd be fun.
The only out-of-area person is Santo.
Santo. Bring Santo on. Santo from Queensland, Australia.
Oh, nice.
Oh, we love Australia.
What time is it in Australia? It's early morning. What is it, like
4 a.m., something like that.
There?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Santo, how you doing today?
A bit of a croaky throat. It's still very early, as you said, over here.
Australia knows how to use the phone.
So what questions do you have for today's show, Santo?
Hello?
Hello, Santo. We can hear you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I put a question in the chat. I missed the early part because it was a little bit too early. And I just caught when they were talking about the achieving the highest orgasm to align with the wishes when they first start. So I'm just trying to understand, and I put a question in the chat as an extreme example. Say someone comes in, fills out the form, and they put their wishes as winning millions of dollars and lots of plastic surgery to look more beautiful and find a guru so they can ascend. And do you sit down with them first and do a little bit of a review of their wishes, or do you let them just go through their experience? And do they, if they achieve this highest orgasm, actually figure it out and look at their own list and go, wow, that was interesting. That's not my wishes.
This is a great question, and the answer to this question is applicable to every situation in life where you get, so just like we were talking with Braden, right? Like, let's bring it on back a little bit. So here's the thing about, so if somebody says, I want to make $1 million a year, and we'll ask them, so yeah, we do an intake, and we ask them, what are you making right now? And if they're like, well, I'm making like $1,000 a month, we're like, all right, well, we gotta, like, what feels doable to you, right? So maybe like 10,000 a month. Let's start out with like 10,000 a month. And they're like, okay, once we get 10,000. So this is what Jen and I did too when we first started.
We doubled down.
Yeah, when we were making zero money, 10 grand a month felt like a lot to us. So we started off at 3 grand a month, and we started making 3 grand a week, and we were like, what the fuck? And so we started saying 10 grand a month, 10 grand a month in orgasm. And then once 10 grand a month was nothing to us,
20.
Then we'd raise it to 20 grand a month, 20 grand a month. And then we'd raise it to 40.
Mm-hmm. We just kept doubling.
We just kept double down, right?
The mind can usually double. It's funny. If you have a $500,000 business, it's really easy to go to a 7-figure business, right?
Yeah.
If you have $1 million business, it's really easy to go to a $2 million business. It's looking at about how far the mind can stretch. And yes, we also get into the whys. So why do you want what you want? Because sometimes, and I think this is what you're hinting at, is that quite often people don't need, like if someone thinks that they need this, $1 billion business or something, okay, why do you want that? Like, why do you, okay, well, I want more freedom and I want more time and I want to be able to take vacations. You probably don't need $1 billion business to do that.
We're like,
right?
what do you need $1 billion
You
for?
don't. You don't. What is
You know?
it? You don't need
the
that.
other thing is usually people will use a number like that as an excuse to not do anything.
Right.
As an excuse to not even start.
Well, they can't even wrap their heads around it. Right?
So, and then as far as like, I want to lose 20 pounds, right? We'll usually change. I mean, that's cool. They can do that. But usually it doesn't matter. Like, they can lose 20 pounds and still think they're ugly. They can be the most beautiful woman, usually, like by society standards. Like a lot of the women that come to us that were, like supermodels or like the most beautiful women in the world by society standards, they're the ones that have the most self-conscious issues.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. And we've had a 76-year-old woman who was really overweight, and just loved herself.
She was great. Yeah.
She just loved herself more than anyone we've ever seen in there.
She was the most orgasmic woman I've ever worked with. I mean, she was amazing. She was so fun.
So usually if somebody comes in and they're like, well, I need a nose job. Like, the affirmation is now, I love myself. I'm perfect just the way that I am.
It's safe for me to be seen, right? I'm safe. A lot of it's around safety, right? So we absolutely do go, what's deeper? What's that really about, right? It's often about safety. It's often about self-love. It's often about these deeper things.
Yeah, there's usually this thing like right here, like the deep issue, and people will like float all around it, but they can't see it because it's so close. Again, like what I was saying with Braden, right? They're all around it. And so when, and this is why, it's another reason Andrew was saying, like, you've got to find yourself first. You've got to figure yourself out first. Or else we're just one big projection. We just project everything out based on our lenses. If we can clear all of our traumas and all of our lenses and all that and see ourselves clearly, only then can we see other people clearly. So it is our duty as light workers, as leaders, as change workers, to clear our own lenses first and see the bigger picture. So, when somebody says, I need a Ferrari, we say, no, you don't. What do you need? What do you want? Like, what do you really want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But cool. At times they are stuck and I only want the Ferrari because they never had a bar higher than that.
Yeah, and that's good. And here's the thing. Even if the ego is allowed to want things like that. Yeah. When I first started, I wanted a Ducati. I wanted my Diavel. That was my dream bike. It was on my dream board. And so it's okay for the ego to want those things, to get them in motion, to get them moving. Mm-hmm. And as long as, when they get the thing that they wanted, they don't just automatically on to the next thing. Like, you've got to still appreciate it. Mm-hmm. So if I have a nice, Jen bought me a nice Impero Armani watch. Like, she buys me nice watches, not because, I used to never have nice things at all, but nice things actually do hold an energy if we're lucid. Mm-hmm. If we're buying nice things to fill a void, mm-hmm. it'll never fill that void. If we have nice things, if I'm in a nice place and there's nice sheets and nice, chairs, and my car works well, life works well as long as we know what we're looking for, mm-hmm. right? So again, it's both sides of the spectrum. Society tells you buy, but they say always buy more. It is nice to have nice things, but it's because it holds a vibration.
It's really the difference between like an addiction. Like I love food. I love good food. I'm a big fan of good food. Right?
I love good food.
I'm very particular about the food I eat, right? And so if I'm going to eat, like, I love chocolate. If I'm going to eat chocolate, like, I'm going to savor that chocolate and enjoy it, right? It's going to be like a chocolate meditation.
And I'm going to buy her the best chocolate.
Yeah, Ben buys me the best chocolate.
I'm not going to buy her Hershey's.
But it would be like if I was, if we're eating chocolate all day, every day, and all I'm eating is chocolate, like, it loses its flavor. We can no longer enjoy it. We're numbing. So I think that that's such a huge difference. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting nice things or with enjoying the third dimension. I think we're actually here to enjoy the physical world.
Women with small boobs wish they had big boobs. Women with big boobs wish they had small boobs. Everyone wants something else. I remember when we were living in Rancho Santa Fe, California, by San Diego. A couple years ago, we're living in this 5,000 square foot mansion on 50 acres right outside of San Diego. and working, and we were so overwhelmed and so burdened and so much pressure. I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And Jen was in meditation, and there's a homeless guy that lives up on the mountain behind our house, and I was like,
I want to go be the homeless guy.
Yeah, so Jen comes out of meditation. She goes, I was talking with the homeless guy in meditation, and he wishes he was you, and you wish you were him, and we just wanted to like trade spots. It's like the prince and the pauper, right? Yeah. It's not that one thing is good, or I mean, I've been homeless. You know, 7, 8, 9 years ago, I was sleeping on the streets, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I needed it to collapse a polarity for me, to collapse an anchor, to have an experience. So I no longer have the fear of losing everything because it was incredible. So anyway, I could talk forever, but I'm not going to.
It's a goal. Ha ha ha. Santa, did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
Yeah, just another question. I missed the early part of the show, and I just came in at the point of talking about the program and the experiences of having that
the best
awakening orgasm. Was there any part that talked about, is this specific experience, and you looked at the science and you discovered this component, is this specific to females? And if so, what is the issue with males?
What's the question?
I missed the last part. Can you just briefly put the question in one sentence?
Can you repeat it, Andrew?
I missed the last part.
He was saying.
Okay.
He's going to say.
It was specifically the program in relation to females, and you said you discovered some science that you then put into play in terms of how to get women to have that experience, to go above that ceiling or experience that ceiling. Is this something that you apply specifically to females? And if so, what is the situation with males relative to this experience that you've put into this program?
With males?
Males. Men versus women.
It's my Aussie accent.
So thank you. Great question. Perfect question. So here's the thing. With women, the path that they need to take to break through that glass ceiling is that we call it 30 minutes of full release G-spot orgasm. For men, what men need is much different. So most of the process is the same because the process works, but at the very end, men are able to build up their sexual energy in the same way, where the women, we have build it up, and then have that explosive orgasm. With men, we have them build it up, stop, hold it, do a breathwork technique that takes about 30 seconds to do this breathwork technique. Then they hold, and then they drop, and then it shoots the energy out. Yeah. And they can have a full body Kundalini rising that can last 20, 30 minutes of clearing and convulsing and just feeling like ecstasy in your body and moving through your cells. Like, it's all hyper energizing, right? And it's all just moving all the energy through. And it does the same thing where it connects you at the higher level and grounds it down into your physical container. And afterwards, I mean, every single person says, I had no idea that was even possible. I didn't even know I could do that. It's kind of like the Tony Robbins, walk on coals, or everyone does it. Walking on coals, bend rebar with your throat, breaking bricks, with your hands. But with those things, you only do it when you're at an event somewhere. This orgasm thing you can do with your partner all the time. And we always say, like, as soon as you have 30 minutes of G-spot orgasm, you never fight another day in your life. Yeah. Because you just go into the bedroom, and 30 minutes later, her brain's cleared. You've got all the energy.
We're all good.
You get to start creating new. It doesn't even matter anymore.
And then we focus on what do you want? What do we want?
Orgasmic forgiveness.
Yeah, just like clearing out the crap, man.
She couldn't stay mad at me if she wanted to.
Just clear out this human bodies. We collect all this crap. Just move it out.
Yeah. On quite a few of my call-in shows, I talk about sexuality, and I run into a lot of people, as you do, that are in a loveless relationship and incapable or don't want to have relations with the person that they're with, and then they suppress their feminine or masculine energies, and then they wonder why they have no life path, no life purpose.
Right. And no energy. They don't have, they're like, where's my passion? Where's my joy? You're also probably not feeling your anger or your frustration, or there's this numbing or suppressing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Santo, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
All right.
Australia, man. You got up early for that.
Yeah.
We love the Australians.
We love the Aussies.
Yeah, me too.
Love us. Yeah, we love the Aussies.
On my Tuesday shows, it's all the Aussies calling in because it's 7 o'clock Pacific, which is like their 10 o'clock in the morning.
We've had so many people from Australia too. It's it's such a cool. I want to go. We have to go.
We have to do all our mentorship calls at like 5 o'clock because it's like 7 or 8 a.m. for them.
Yeah.
Next day.
Yeah, right.
They're in the future. They're from the future.
All right, everybody. So this October 5th through the 8th, both Ben and Jen and myself will be at Living the Mystical Life Daily live event. If you want to come to the live event, go to the website, andrewbarches.com/shop. There you will see the entire 6-week online course available that comes with 2 free tickets to come to the event. Also, you can contact HR at Galactic Historian if you need any support or want to have a room share or a ride share. We are putting a list together of all those people that are doing room share and ride shares. It is a 4-day event, October 5th through the 8th. Thank you, everyone. Ben and Jen, what last words do you have to say?
Well, we'd also love to connect with you at the event, and if you can make it to the event, come up, shake our hands, say hi. Introduce yourself, and if you can't make it, get in touch with us on Facebook. We're both very active on Facebook. You can look us up, Ben Rohde and Jen Rohde, spelled RODE, on Facebook, and come hang out. We've got a bunch of cool stuff. We've got our membership program. I'll give you a month free. I'll give you a month of our membership program for free. So just email. What should we email? Email care@rodeinstitute.com. Care, like we care about you, and you will be cared for, at Rohde Institute, RODE Institute.com, and say we said we'd give you a free month. Say you saw us on Andrew's thing.
Yeah, and we can't wait to see you all in person. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're so excited for the event, Andrew. It's gonna be fun.
Man, I've been looking forward to this for quite some time.
This will be our first time coming to the States in like a year.
It's because of Andrew. We can't. I mean, it's you.
It's hard to get us there anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to get us there.
It took a multi-dimensional crowbar.
That is true.
When you have a lever long enough, you can move the world.
Cool.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll be back this Saturday, 5 to 7 Pacific, for the next Adventures in Reality. All right. Take it easy, everyone.
Thank you.
Ciao. Hasta luego. Pura vida.
Pura vida.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun. How fun. I love that.
Andrew,